Why are there women who, despite enduring deep wounds, still stand tall with a sacred beauty? The secret lies in the invisible marks heaven has placed upon them. Do you often feel like you don't quite belong, even when everything seems fine? That feeling may not be a flaw, but a divine invitation. When the enemy can't explain how you keep rising after every storm, it may be because you are a chosen woman. The reflection below reveals 7 mysterious signs carried only by women who have been chosen by God. Read carefully, because you may discover that heaven has already touched your life in ways you never realized. Why only the chosen women have these 7 hidden marks? Have you ever wondered why certain women walk through storms but never sink? Why they are attacked without cause, isolated without explanation, and yet still rise with unshakable grace? In this video, we peel back the veil on the divine mystery behind what sets these women apart. Not in title, not in appearance, but in heaven's hidden fingerprints on their lives. These marks are not visible to the world, but they are recognized by the Spirit. They are not badges of status, but signs of selection. Get ready to discover why some women aren't just surviving life. They're sculpted by it for something greater. Let's unlock the mystery together. You're not just watching a video, you're stepping into a revelation. Let's begin. Number 1. She has a scar that turned into a sword. Beloved, let us pause and consider the mystery of divine selection, how heaven chooses its champions, not from the palaces of comfort, but from the ruins of brokenness. A chosen woman is not merely one who wears grace like a garment. She is one who has bled, wept, crawled, survived. She is the rose that grew through concrete, not because the soil was fertile, but because the soul was fierce. Her scars are not signs of defeat. They are the sacred signatures of survival. And not only survival, but transformation. She's not just still standing, she's standing stronger. Like Joseph, who looked his brothers in the face and declared with holy hindsight, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." Genesis 50:20. The chosen woman has stared into the pit and come out wielding a promise. What should have killed her became the birthplace of her calling. Her wound became her weapon. Her agony became her anointing. Consider Hannah, tormented by Peninnah, ridiculed for her barrenness, shamed in a culture that valued fertility. But she didn't quit. She cried. She poured out her soul to God. And from her pain came Samuel, a prophet, who would anoint kings if you've ever wept in secret, but still lifted your hands in worship. If you've ever walked through betrayal and came out with a word instead of a wound, you carry the first hidden mark. You've been battle-tested. That pain you don't talk about anymore, that's your oil. That rejection that made you question your worth, that's your sword. Now every time the enemy thought it had you, God was sharpening you. And now you've got an edge that cuts through darkness. Ask yourself, today has my greatest wound become my greatest weapon? Because a chosen woman may be quiet, but she is never powerless. Her silence is sacred because her history is holy. If you've been wounded, and yet you worship, if your scar still burns, but your praise still rises, you wear this mark. Number 2. She lives with divine discontent. Oh, I need you to lean in for this one, daughter of Zion, because not every chosen woman looks broken. Some of them look blessed. Some are beautiful, successful, surrounded by good things, yet still feel like they don't belong. That's not confusion. That's divine discontent. That's the holy tug of heaven pulling on your soul. Like a mother waking her child from slumber. You've outgrown the room you were placed in. Your spirit is stirring because your destiny is stretching. Hebrews 11:13 says, "They admitted they were foreigners and strangers on earth." My God, that means chosen women often don't fit even in the right places because they weren't designed to be comfortable. They were designed to be called, they're like eagles in chicken coops, born for heights, but raised in limitation. You feel the itch, the ache, the holy dissatisfaction. Not because something's wrong with you, but because something's right with your assignment. Look at Esther. She's queen. Yes, she's adorned. Yes, she's in the palace. Yes, but deep down she's uncomfortable. Why? Because there's a decree outside the walls trying to destroy her people. The palace is not her purpose. It's her position for such a time as this. And Marai's words thunder through the centuries. If you remain silent at this time, deliverance will arise from elsewhere. Oh, that discontent you feel. That's your call to arise. Your restlessness is not rebellion, it's revelation. Some of you have cried and said, "Why can't I just be content like everyone else?" Because you're not everyone else, you're chosen. That holy ache is not anxiety. It's divine assignment. God is stirring the nest because it's time to fly. Have you noticed that your favorite job now feels like a cage? That old routine now feels like sandpaper to your spirit. That's not boredom. That's birth pangs. Something is about to break forth in your life. And chosen women don't ignore that feeling. They follow it. They discern the itch in their spirit and trace it to the breath of God, moving them forward. So if you've been feeling out of place, out of rhythm, out of alignment, pause and praise. You're being repositioned. The nest is being stirred, not to hurt you, but to push you into your next. You're not lost. Daughter, you're just being led. Number 3, an unexplainable sensitivity to injustice and pain. Oh, glory. Now we come to a mark that is often misunderstood, even by those who carry it. The chosen woman walks through this world with a heart that feels everything. She weeps at news stories. She groans in worship. She carries the burdens of people she hasn't even met, and she often wonders, why do I feel so deeply? It is because she is trusted by heaven. She is heaven's intercessor. She is earth's midwife. Her tears are not emotional instability. They are sacred currency in the courts of God. Jesus wept. John 11:35. The shortest verse in the Bible, but perhaps one of the most profound. Why would the Son of God weep when he knew he was about to raise Lazarus? Because compassion is not about outcome. It's about intimacy. And when you're chosen, God allows you to carry the feelings of others so you can cry prayers. They don't even have the words to pray. You mourn with those who mourn. You are the spiritual doula groaning in the spirit for deliverance you'll never get credit for. Oh yes, this is a hidden mark. The woman in the church who breaks into sobs during a song. Others barely notice the one who senses something is off in a room full of people smiling. That's the burden of divine sensitivity. You feel the grief of the world, not because you're weak, but because you're trusted. You're the woman who intercedes for her children at 3 a.m. You're the one who groans when you can't even articulate the words you've been entrusted with heaven's heartbeat. And yes, it can be exhausting. Yes, it can be isolating. But oh, it is also powerful, because while others judge by sight, you discern by spirit. While others move on, you linger in prayer. God can whisper secrets to your tears. The world says she's too sensitive. Heaven says she's highly favored. Do not despise your tears. Daughter, they are prophetic. They are powerful. They are planting seeds in realms you can't see yet. And when you feel like the only one crying, know this: you're not crazy. You're chosen. You carry a burden because you've been built for breakthrough. Number 4, she attracts unprovoked attacks. When a woman is chosen by God, she does not enter into a playground. She steps onto a battlefield, and often before her crown ever touches her head, her calling begins to provoke conflict in the spirit realm. She attracts attacks, not because she's doing something wrong, but because she is carrying something right. She is light in a dark room, and beloved light draws attention, and light also draws warfare. Matthew 5:11 declares, "Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me." Listen closely. The insults are not random, the slander is not accidental, and the betrayal is not without spiritual context. The chosen woman glows in a way that the devil detects her life, her purity, her purpose. Her yes to God ignites alarms in hell. She doesn't need to speak loud to be a threat, just her presence unsettles principalities. She is the flame that cannot be hidden, and the brighter she burns, the more bugs she attracts. Think about Mary, the mother of Jesus. Her yes to God didn't just usher in Emmanuel, it triggered a demonic assassination attempt. Her obedience stirred up Herod's wrath, forced her into exile, surrounded her with rumors of scandal. She was mocked before she was marveled. But Mary didn't back down, because chosen women understand the attack is not about where they are. It's about what they carry. Woman of God, hear me today. If you've been facing opposition that feels unprovoked, you are not cursed, you are confirmed. The warfare swirling around your life is evidence of what you're birthing. The enemy does not attack the barren. He attacks the fruitful. You've been targeted not because you're weak, but because you're a weapon. Stop wondering why they talk about you. Stop apologizing for your anointing. Stop shrinking to survive when you are called to shine. The arrows are not the end. They are indicators. You are advancing. You are dangerous. And heaven has placed a bullseye on your back, not for destruction, but for destiny. Remember, even Jesus attracted warfare before he ever preached a sermon. Hell targets what it fears. So instead of asking, "Why me?" lift your head and declare, "It must be because I'm carrying something heavy." The crown costs, the oil flows from pressure, and the chosen woman doesn't run from attack. She learns to worship through it. Number 5, the pattern of being misunderstood and isolated. One of the most excruciating marks of a chosen woman is not external attack, but internal isolation. It's when you sit in a room full of people and still feel alone. It's when your silence is mistaken for pride. Your discernment is labeled as judgment. Your boundaries are seen as rejection. The chosen woman is often misunderstood, not because she's unclear, but because she's uncommon. She doesn't move like everyone else, because she's not called like everyone else. Luke 5:16 tells us Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed. Even the Savior of the world found himself in solitude, not because he lacked love, but because he needed alignment. Isolation is not always punishment for the chosen woman. Isolation is preparation. She blooms in deserts. She grows in places where no one else thought life could survive. She becomes the rose that blossoms in barren soil. Look at Hagar cast out into the wilderness alone with her child. And yet, it was there in the middle of nowhere that she encountered Elroy, the God who sees. Look at Moses exiled from Egypt before he could lead Israel alone, but not abandoned. Look at David, anointed in obscurity, tending sheep while forgotten by his father. Why? Because God hides what he intends to heal before he reveals it. You may feel left out, but really, you've been set apart that job. You didn't get that invitation. You never received that circle you no longer fit into. Don't mourn it. Thank God, because some tables are not for feeding. They're for poisoning. And when God isolates you, it's not to punish. It's to insulate. He places you in divine seclusion so he can transform you without interference. He pulls you away so he can pull things out of you. And when the transformation is complete, when your strength has returned and your spirit has matured, he reveals you not as the same woman who went into the wilderness, but as a fire-tested spirit, filled glory, carrying vessel of power, woman of God. You may be in a silent season, but your silence is sacred. You may be alone, but you are not forgotten. God is doing a deep work, and soon what was hidden will be unveiled, not for vanity, but for victory. Because isolation is not rejection, it is redirection. Number 6, she grows in the dark. Oh, this right here is a word for the woman who feels like no one sees her, the one whose work is overlooked, whose labor is unseen, whose heart aches with questions like, does any of this even matter? Hear me? You have not been buried, you have been planted. There is a holy difference. Isaiah 45:3 says, I will give you treasures of darkness, riches stored in secret places. God does not just work in light, he works in shadows. He does not just move on stages, he moves in silence. Chosen women grow in obscurity. They develop when no one is clapping, when no one is noticing, when no one is affirming, like seeds in the soil. They are covered, pressed down, hidden, yet they are becoming beneath the surface. Roots are stretching. Strength is forming. Identity is solidifying. Don't despise your hidden season. Don't curse the darkness, because the darkness is divine. Look at Ruth gleaning in Boaz's field with no title, no tribe, no followers. Yet her obedience in obscurity positioned her for legacy. Look at Joseph in the prison, forgotten by man, but remembered by God. Look at Moses tending sheep in the backside of the desert. Silent years that became sacred training. The women God chooses are often anonymous before they are announced. Their growth is deep before it is visible. And when the time is right, when the roots are strong and the character is forged, God will reveal what he has refined single mothers raising their children in secret strength. You are growing in the dark, women working behind the scenes, pouring out without applause. You are growing in the dark. Daughters who pray when no one is watching, serve when no one is thanking, and sow when no one is clapping. You are God's hidden treasure. Don't seek the spotlight. Seek the soil. That's where the real growth happens, because God is not building platforms. He's building pillars, and pillars are formed in pressure. Woman of God, you may feel unseen, but heaven is watching. You may feel forgotten, but you are being forged. You may feel hidden, but you are being held. Keep growing, keep praying, keep sowing. Number 7, my God. If you've made it through the furnace of the first 6 marks, and you're still standing still, pressing, still believing, then you're about to see one of the most radiant marks of a chosen woman. She has unshakable joy in dry places. Oh yes, she knows how to rejoice. When everything around her says she should retreat, she can smile through her storms, laugh through her losses and worship while she's weeping. She can look drought in the face and still declare, "It is well with my soul." Because this joy she carries is not circumstantial, it's spiritual. It's not manufactured by mood. It's rooted in her Messiah. The prophet Habakkuk declared, "Though the fig tree does not bud, and there are no grapes on the vines yet, I will rejoice in the Lord." Habakkuk, 3:17-18. You see, joy is not denial. It is defiance. It is the chosen woman's holy rebellion against despair. She is like a tree planted by the rivers of living water, whose leaves stay green, even in the drought. Jeremiah 17:8. While others wither, she worships. While others mourn without hope, she grieves with hope. She has learned to sing in barren places, because her melody is rooted in the God who never changes. Her joy is her warfare, her laughter is her weapon, her praise is her proclamation, that even in lack, her God is still enough. Oh yes, consider the Proverbs 31 woman who laughs without fear of the future. Not because she's naive, but because she's anchored. Not because life is perfect, but because her peace is not based on perfection. It's based on a person, and that person is Christ, the rock, the anchor of her soul. Can you still sing when the answer is delayed? Can you still bless him when the bills are due? Can you still dance when the diagnosis is devastating? That's the sign, that's the seventh mark, when hell throws everything it has at her, and she still throws her hands in the air and says, "Yet will I trust you." That's not weakness, that's warfare. When she stirs up joy in a prison like Paul and Silas, when she claps her hands in a hospital room, when she testifies through tears, she is marked, because the devil can't stand a joyful woman. He knows sorrow can be survived, but joy is dangerous. Joy is explosive. Joy is contagious. Joy means the enemy failed to rob her of her source, and the chosen woman knows, if I still have breath, I still have a reason to praise. And so, my friends, these 7 hidden marks, they are not curses, they are not flaws, they are divine fingerprints. They are heaven's validation, not the world's applause. They are not meant to shame you, they are meant to show you. You are set apart. You are appointed. You are anointed. These marks are not burdens, they are badges. You have cried in secret, but God has watched in silence. You have labored in obscurity, but heaven has recorded every tear and every prayer, and now God is revealing what he has refined. You are a vessel of honor. You are a woman made for divine purpose, as Paul declared in 2 Timothy 2:20-21. In a large house, there are vessels of gold and silver, some for special purposes. Those who cleanse themselves will be instruments for special purposes, made wholly useful to the Master, prepared to do any good work. My sister, if you've walked through pain and still serve, if you've been left out and still love, if you've been misunderstood and still obey, if you've stood alone and still worshipped, you wear the marks. You are not common.